All right, Andrew Easton here of the ESUCC with Michelle Kessler of ESU 13, and we're going to be able to talk a little bit today about how to select which tech tools you might look to use in the lesson that you're designing. And so grateful for Michelle's insights. Michelle, go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Andrew. I just want to talk a little bit. I know a lot of teachers, as soon as we're learning, oh, we're going to do remote, oh, we're going to be using technology, then we start worrying about all the tools that we should be using. And I just want to take a minute about what really needs to go into building the lesson before you even choose the tool. And a lot of times you start with the question, which tool should I use? And I'm really suggesting that that's the wrong question to start with. The better question to ask is, what do I want to accomplish? Because different tools do different jobs. You know that you can't put a nail into a piece of wood using a saw. So decide what you want to do before you actually pick up the saw or the hammer. The other thing you might want to think about is, are there tools that my students and I already know how to use that will do the same thing? If I have a tool that works and the kids know how to use it and I know how to use it, I'm saying don't go out and try something new just because it's new and cool. Okay. That being said, if your school district says this is the way we want you to do it, you're going to have to figure out how to do it, right?
Exactly.
Sometimes they vote for some consistency, and I don't argue against that. All right. So before you're doing that, you need to think about what you want to do. And then everything needs to be aligned to it. What at the end do you want your students to know and be able to do? That's really the question. And then you have to decide, how do I get them there? And the way you do that is all of your lesson tasks have to be aligned to that end goal. All of your assignments have to be aligned to that end goal. And all of your activities have to be aligned to that end goal. You can pick the coolest activity out there and the kids will love it. But if it's not leading them toward the goal of learning, then it's missing the mark and the target. Right. So when you're thinking about what do I want the tool to do, think about what is it you want your students to be doing. Do you want them to be finding information? That also includes, how are you going to share information with them? Do you want them to be able to use information? Do you want them to create something? Do you want them to be able to share that information? Share that information with you, share information with peers, share it with the whole wide world. How is it you want them to share the information? Do you want them to collaborate? There are some tools out there, I think a lot of times we call them collaboration tools, but it really is one-way communication. So think about, if you want the students to be working together, does the tool really do that? And then the other thing you might want students to do with the tool is provide and request feedback. How are you providing feedback to your students? And how are they providing feedback back to you? And you'll notice the link at the bottom of this slide. Andrew just put the bit.ly link up there as well. This is a language arts example. And I'm not going to go into an exhaustive list of tools out there because I know there are lots of other places to get those. But here are just a few that some Corwin authors put together as an example. And a few of them have some links. So if you've not used Quizlet before, you can click on that little link and get a YouTube video on how to do it. Okay. So again, think about what it is you want the students to actually be doing before you choose the tool. Some other questions to consider. If you're looking at a tool and trying to decide if it's the one you want to use, we have 3 questions for you. What learning function does this tool fulfill? And we've just talked about that. It might be bright and shiny, but if it doesn't do what you want it to do, it's not the right tool. Is it developmentally appropriate for your students with minimal adult assistance? Okay. A lot of us were caught off guard last spring. Go home for spring break. Oh, by the way, don't come back. Okay. I know a lot of schools that got to start this fall actually took the first 2 days. My son's a good example, took the first 2 days learning how to use Canvas, so that if they do now have to go remote again, the students at least have some knowledge on how to use the tool. We can't assume that the parents know how to use these tools. So is it developmentally appropriate that they can do it without a lot of adult assistance? And the third question, does it have accessibility features that are aligned to compliance? Closed captioning, screen reading and software, those sorts of things. So once you've looked at a tool and you've answered all those questions, it really is this how you're going to teach? We've been given a lot of guidance on what you teach. You've got your state standards, you've got national standards, you've got school district expectations of what you teach. You most oftentimes get to choose how you teach it. So take the time and choose the tool that does the job you want it to do.
Yeah, thank you so much, Michelle, for sharing this thinking. We're going to pair this on the site with a resource that actually has 156 tools on it, and you can actually go in and it's filterable to where you can choose the purpose along with that. And I love that you started with thinking through where does this fit within your lesson design. We also have resources on the site for that, so be sure to check those out. And Michelle, really appreciate your time and this insight into how we might think about utilizing tech tools in the classroom.
All right, thanks, Andrew. See you guys.